This has been one of the biggest debates the gaming industry has seen since PC versus console. PUBG versus Fortnite has been circulating the internet frequently these past few months, but it has now gotten even more interesting. With PUBG finally out of early access, many of the review giants out there like IGN and GameSpot have released reviews about both games. And additionally, there have been so many updates fighting neck and neck with new game modes and events. There has also been a slight optimization on PUBG's side, which is a big factor in the exponential Battle Royale rivalry. There's also been a strange and absurd plot about meteors in Fortnite's weird and wonderful world. There's just so much to talk about here, but please keep this in mind. Both games are extremely different and target very different people, so there is no real answer here. So I've broken down this video into sections for comparisons rather. Just a disclaimer before the video starts. I know this is an extremely controversial topic, so let me say this from the beginning. Both games have their ups and downs, but this video is by no means going to try and convince you that one is better than the other. It is meant to be informative and provide you with an insight on each game in their respective fields. I will say, however, that while my personal preference is PUBG, both are fun games and have massive supportive audiences. The Battle Royale genre had been around for a long time. It just wasn't recognized by the mainstream game industry that much. H1Z1 King of the Hill had been doing this already long before. It just wasn't formalized. When PUBG came out, it redefined the genre into what it is today. It brought about addictive, tense shootouts with a formula that meant try again and again and again, and it just never seemed to get boring. It goes back to the human need for survival, the feeling of euphoria to strive to be the one on top, and this is something PUBG does very, very well. When Epic Games saw this idea and its success, they culminated their own idea of the genre, just with an extremely different approach. This was a controversial time for both games. Bluehole, back then, saw an opportunity to take legal action as Fortnite was considered a clone, but also because, more interestingly, Bluehole had been working closely with Epic as they were using their in-game engine, Unreal. This, however, was dropped after a massive backlash from the gaming community. While there are similarities between the two, Fortnite introduced new waves of ideas, such as special events and a different pacing strategy. This is where Fortnite took the lead. Epic was fast in releasing new content. The game was optimized and ran a lot smoother, and they followed that idea of fast pace, so game sessions were more focused and quicker, which is what the genre of Battle Royale needs in order to have replay value. This is the point of a discussion when a playground argument starts on PUBG versus Fortnite. It is this point that actually differentiates PUBG and Fortnite so much so that they are incomparable in terms of quality, and therefore eliminates the winner of the two. Fortnite has a wildly different style to PUBG, and always will. It has a whimsical and cartoonish graphical style, filled to the brim with a bright, multicolored palette of saturated color, not to mention a psychedelic Battle Royale circle. Players are also thrown into a pool of crazy community theories, such as comets hitting the map and alien motherships, and a wide variety of flashy cosmetics which reiterates that idea of a whimsical style. PUBG represents the complete opposite, however. It is based on the mainstream shooter, military, and realism. It is a straightforward shooter with a more suppressed color palette and a mundane tone. This isn't a fault though. This sense of realism is preferred by many, and is partly the reason why it is so successful. It resembles a slice of life, making it more tense, which is a standout point against Fortnite, which is to be discussed. Style in conjunction with each game's mechanics is what defines these games and what sets them apart. In PUBG, we see a game which is difficult to pick up and play, that takes a long time to master with a high skill ceiling. It reiterates along with its style that sense of realism and tense shootouts. This is achieved through its bullet ballistic system. The powerful blows of real weapons really makes defeating a player satisfying, and just that sense of edginess and discomfort when you hear shots nearby makes you shake or even sweat, especially in that final circle, which is what PUBG does massively well through its pacing. The majority of those who play competitively will undoubtedly enjoy PUBG more than Fortnite, just because of that adrenaline-filled match that enhances that feeling of winning. This is PUBG's strongest point. While many argue this pacing is uneven and thus inferior to Fortnite's quick gameplay, that sense of satisfaction of getting that winner-winner chicken dinner is so empowering that it becomes addictive. It does, although, have a strong backlash that causes intense frustration when you spend 30 minutes trying to get the best gear, only to be killed by someone you didn't even see. This dynamic gameplay is interesting, but tiresome, and to counteract this, PUBG has realized that in order to keep up with Fortnite, they needed a change. This change is the soon-to-be-released Savage map, which is said to bring that Fortnite-esque quick gameplay to PUBG's disposal. Fortnite's interpretation of Battle Royale is wildly different. While it too is quite hard to master, the ability to simply start playing without much practice is much easier. Its aiming system counteracts PUBG's accuracy, as shooting is more in the general direction rather than spot on. There is also a clear indication of exactly how much damage you have done when you have shot someone, represented by numbers that pop out of their bodies, which shows damage done to their shield or health. A key difference with this aiming system is that it can be fun with not much skill, other than PUBG, which requires more proficiency. But don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that Fortnite's system is only for the unskilled. Mastering its quirks can be difficult, and when done, can be extremely professional. With this shooting system comes the controversial building mechanic, which is very subjective. Personally, one of the reasons I dislike Fortnite is I do not like the reliance on the ability to build for you to be able to get far or even win. The building mechanic is an integral part of Fortnite, essentially the most important however, meaning it is unlikely to get close to those final circles if your building technique is bad. It is all personal taste however, many people prefer it, many people think it is gimmicky. Finally, the biggest benefactor on Fortnite's side is its pace. The game strives on replayability, since you can die quickly and reload another game. The map is small, adding more consistent, static gunfights than rather running for a while and getting an intense encounter. This is however not a good thing. The only con to this system is the lack of tension. Fortnite automatically becomes a more casual experience, leaving PUBG with that intense, rewarding gunfight, which reiterates my belief that more competitive players will prefer PUBG. There are many different areas to cover here. Looking at the player base at each of these games, Fortnite is the clear winner. Its style of gameplay mechanics are just more appealing at its fundamental level, and it just recently became the biggest free-to-play game in history. There has also been talk recently that Fortnite is secretly pay to win, where YouTubers like Luke the Notable, I'll put his video in the description, saw a significant increase in better loot from chests if you pay for a battle pass or cosmetics. I'll leave you to decide that one. And while PUBG is paid only, this is not the main reason that Fortnite's player base is larger. Fortnite has cross-platform support and is available on a wide variety of systems, including Mac, Xbox One, and PS4. The simplicity of the controls also make it more playable on game controllers. PUBG is simply not meant to be played on a controller. Everyone knows how terrible the Xbox One port is, and a controller is just one of the reasons why it is not working. Both games are also in early access, but Fortnite is far more optimized and stable, although recently PUBG has been doing well in terms of graphical fidelity and stability. Another good point to note is the esport industry. Epic has done so, but is not focused on major competitive esports as much as the PUBG corporation. Just recently, it was announced that its first major esports tournament is happening in summer this year. Many may argue it is not ready. Its first Gamescon Invitational was ripe with bugs, glitches, a bad camera system, and was just a badly structured event, where queues of people were not able to watch the event, and crew not knowing what to do. It will be interesting to see what is to be changed for the upcoming event and what the two games do in the esport industry. Finally, there is Twitch, and Fortnite, while it used to be behind PUBG, is doing significantly better than PUBG in the amount of Twitch streamers and viewers. But again, this is due to the style and wider target audience. So what does this all conclude? Well, that is for you to decide. There is no clear evidence to support which game is intrinsically better, and it all comes down to your personal taste. This video was just meant to educate you on how this whole Battle Royale fight came about. See what I did there? I do hope you all enjoyed the video, and I hope you give it a like and a subscribe to my channel. This is only my second video, and I'm loving it so far. Would love some feedback from all of you, and would like to know what you guys think about this whole Fortnite versus PUBG thing. Thank you kindly. Tash Talks.